this moment celebrated their power.
You've got to watch this speech. It was the winner of last year's Speaker Slam. It's a talk that went viral. A former paddleboarding coach who got sick in 2018 and developed Ramsay Hunt syndrome. It's a form of facial palsy, and he's now known as the unbalanced paddleboarder. Here to promote Facial Palsy Awareness Week is Mike Shorman, and also the chair of About Face, Karim Jokum. Thank you both for joining us this morning. We appreciate you coming in. Mike, let's talk a little bit. That speech is so incredible. I was watching it. It's about 5.5 minutes. And it flew by because you're so engrossed in watching and listening to you talk. It's incredible. Tell us a little bit about what happened.
So in November 2018, I got very sick very quickly. It was a reactivation of my chickenpox virus attacking my ear. And part of that condition was facial palsy on my side, so damage to my 5th, 7th, and 8th cranial nerve. And it was one of the many aspects of this, and it led me down. My life changed very quickly.
You were a paddleboarder, but you had to give it up. But now you've gotten back on.
I can do it for fun when I feel up for it, but I won't do it professionally again. But I am doing some speaking now, which is nice. And today we're talking about facial palsy on Facial Palsy Awareness Week, and talking about conversations and yeah.
Karim, I think that's the one we were just talking about it off there. How do you have those conversations? People, I think, want to ask questions, but they don't know how. What's the best way to talk to someone?
It really differs. For me, I love it when people kind of approach me and say, hey, you look a little bit different. Were you born that way? That's something that I appreciate. But not everybody appreciates that. Some people prefer just to kind of be left alone, to not be stared at. And it's something that just requires us to all accept that we're all human beings and approach it in a respectful way, really. And so, like as you mentioned, I am with About Face, which is an organization that's devoted to basically doing 3 things. Empowering Canadians with facial differences to give them resources and support to learn how to deal with stares, to also encourage them to basically go out and reach their goals. Having a facial difference shouldn't stop us from what we want to achieve. But what we're also trying to do at About Face is also educate and bring broader awareness to the public through kind of like efforts like Facial Palsy Awareness Week. And that's something that's really, really important that we do.
Well, you're an incredible example of that. You're doing research now at Sick Kids, right?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Was it your parents that offered you the support, the drive?
It's a lot of different factors, really. I had a lot of surgeries at Sick Kids, and I became very passionate about working with facial differences and whatnot. Certainly with what I was born with, Treacher-Collins syndrome, it affects a lot of Canadians. But what affects Canadians a lot more is definitely facial palsy, which is something that we need to talk about, whether it's Mobius syndrome, whether it's Ramsay Hunt, or Bell's palsy.
What would you like people to ask you, or if they see you after your speeches, which is incredible? Again, as I said, incredible speech.
Thank you.
What would you like to have them ask you?
I think I'd like them to ask questions and to come up and to be curious. I'm at a point now in this that I'm very comfortable. There was a time where I wasn't, and I didn't want to be seen, and I didn't want to talk about it. And then I started writing about it, and then talking about it, and speaking about it. And that was incredibly cathartic and therapeutic, and it opened the door, and normalized it for me and for others.
Well, thank you both for joining us this morning. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
And as we said, this week is Facial Palsy Awareness Week, and About Face, the national charity that supports people with facial differences, has tips on how to approach people with a visible difference more positively. For more info, head to aboutface.ca. Let's head up to Kyle now in Airborne.